Well, the spring housing market is getting derailed again for the third year in a row. In 2024, buyers were competing and homes were flying off the market. In 2025, momentum built and then suddenly stalled. And now this year, a global conflict is throwing a wrench into things. So what does that mean for buyers here in Western Washington? Joining us now, Emily Bort with Movement Mortgage to try to break it all down. All right, you had mortgage rates below 6%. Everybody's starting to get excited. They can cheaper to borrow money, buy some homes again. Now we got a conflict. What is this? What's going on? What does that do?
Yeah, it was literally over a weekend. We saw from under 6% to almost the mid sixes, and people just stalled. Everyone kind of freaked out. We saw oil prices spike. That brought rates up because of inflation fears. And so there's definitely been a few weeks of some timid conversations and wondering if people should move forward.
What is it about that 6% mark that has people on edge?
Yeah. It's a psychological number for sure. Between 6.5 to the upper fives, we're looking at just a couple $100s a month in payment. But again, because of that psychological number that things are improving, I think that's really gotten some people off the fence. It also opened up the refinance market and was saving people quite a bit of money that had bought in the last few years.
You had the tariffs, obviously, last year, the war, and maybe it won't last too much longer this year. What does that do to people's mindset, after a few years of this?
Yeah, I think people are scared. They're afraid to make the wrong decision. And so the people that we're seeing actually transact right now, those are the people that have a little bit more confidence in their numbers. They know that they need to buy or they need to move. And so those are the people we're seeing that are still getting good deals. We're seeing sellers negotiate more than ever before. There might not be 10 buyers lined up for a home. If there's 1 or 2 buyers, a seller's going to want to work with you a little bit more. And so that from our planning standpoint on the financial side has been good because we've been able to put together mutually beneficial options for the seller and the buyer.
As far as King County goes, and I don't know how much what your scope is of King County, I'm assuming you track it all.
Yep.
What are you seeing countywide and maybe how it compares to some of the other counties in Western Washington?
Yeah, pending sales are definitely slow in King County. Snohomish has seen a little bit bigger drop in the pending sales, but we've also seen inventory rising quite a bit. And so that's, again, what we wanted to see for buyers to have some choice out there. So I think the statistics are 42 to 49% in King County right now we're seeing inventory. So with a little bit less buyers, but still those sellers that plan to sell, they've already been readying their homes to market. They knew they needed to sell this spring. So regardless of what's happening in Iran, they're still moving forward with getting their house listed. So as a buyer, if you can kind of put yourself out there, maybe get a little bit strategic on the financing side, then there are some negotiations that we're seeing happen.
When rates dropped significantly to record lows, you had a lot of people buy houses, and of course they're not going to want to give that up. The low interest rates. So looking to buy, those people maybe not be looking to buy a new house just yet. But you still, in a very popular area, East King County or in the Eastside, Bellevue, whatnot, you've got pretty sharp rates there of price drops, is that surprising to you?
I think on the east side, it's a little bit more tech heavy. So with the stock market, the volatility with the conflict in Iran, we have seen a lot of stock market volatility, and that does affect a lot of buyers' down payment, but also just the tech side of things with the employment situation. So we've had layoffs from many of the big players locally, globally. So that does affect, again, those that are wanting to move forward. And some don't even know if they're staying put.
Right.
So.
You have to keep track of so many different factors.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
What about the first-time buyer? Why is it harder for them?
I think the entry-level point is very high, higher than it's ever been. This is my specialty because it's near and dear to me, is helping first-time home buyers. There's so many options, but not knowing where to start, and then also getting advice from their parents and their grandparents and their great uncles that may not be really
relevant.
Yes, very relevant today, but then also being able to stomach just the budgeting that takes to own a home, the mortgage payment, but then also the upkeep, the maintenance, and just making sure that works for them at the time that they're deciding to move forward.
I mean, what is the upside? Is there good news for buyers? Is there good news for sellers?
I think both. I mean, like I said, we're putting together some really amazing deals that work for the seller and also for the buyers. And so it's just, again, having a good professional that's working with you, representing you on the real estate side, but then also on the financing side, and then just being willing to, think outside the box and we're seeing those buyers win.
Do those buyers need to educate themselves, or you want to be the educator and not let them?
Yes, some come to you with a lot of information that's accurate, but again, the TikTok knowledge that we sometimes get, we have to kind of
temper it a little bit.
Yes, exactly. But it makes our job a little bit easier if people come to the table knowing a little bit, and then we can kind of just help guide them and direct them into what's fact versus fiction.